Welcome back to the Z Ice Show with your host, Z Ice. Today's episode, we have a special guest, Jason Deitch.
That's right.
So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Z. It's really great to be here with you. And
Yeah, it's awesome to have you, man. So, how did you start out? Like, what did you do to begin with?
that's a great question. It really did start actually when I was probably about your age. And my dad was an entrepreneur. He was in the women's fashion industry. They would manufacture clothes overseas and sell them at all the major retail stores here. And he was always teaching me about business. And at a very young age, my father now tells the story, and I remember going up to him and I said, "Dad, business, I don't understand what's so complicated about business. I don't know why it's so hard. I mean, it just, from what I can tell, seems really simple. You just got to find something that lots of people want and give it to them at a price they can afford. What's so hard about that?" And so that was my first understanding of kind of what business is. And then when I started thinking about, well, what are things that people want or need, and how could I give it to them at a price they could afford, that's when I learned about chiropractic. I learned about what a chiropractor does, and that really fit the model for me perfectly. It was something everybody needs, and it was something that I was able to give to people at a price they could afford.
Yeah, well, that's like a really cool what you thought a business was and how you kind of implemented that with chiropractic, and that's really cool. So what education do you have?
I'll call it a lot of street education because the best education comes from experience. But I did go to college. I've got a degree in marketing, and then after that, went to chiropractic school. So I have a degree in chiropractic, and I'd like to say I've got a degree in the School of Hard Knocks, which is just what it takes to be in business, and I'll say stay in business. It's easy to open a business. You get your papers and you set up a business, so to speak. You get a website, you get a bank account. But building a business and staying in business is really the next thing, and that comes just from a lot of experience and even some good luck. Being at the
Yeah.
right place at the right time with the right attitude seems to generate good luck compared to not so good luck.
Yeah, I love how you said that and how you put it that way. That's like gives me a really good idea. Um, One thing I wanted to talk about with you is your books. I know you wrote some books, and one of them that I was researching about was Discover Wellness and How Staying Healthy Can Make You Rich.
Yeah, well, I wrote that book very specifically because my passion is, as I described earlier, and everything sort of relates to that same premise I started with, which is how do you let everybody know about what it is that you do so they go, wow, that's awesome. I should be doing that, so that I and even other chiropractors could then give it to them at a price they can afford. And the idea came to me at the time in 2005, 6, and 7 when I was writing the book, building the book, promoting the book, that books in those days, it was really pre-internet, pre-social media, pre-social networks, that books were the way in which people learned. In today's day and age, what you're doing is the way people learn. But as you can tell by the title, the whole idea was to really speak to people about the benefits of what you do as opposed to just what you do. So, people say discover wellness. Well, okay, most people know the word wellness. They think they know what it means, and they go, yeah, I should be doing some of that. But many people don't. We
Yeah.
have all kinds of healthcare problems. We have a healthcare crisis. Many people are sick from chronic diseases, which are lifestyle diseases, that if they had a wellness mindset and attitude, they probably would, heal their way out of or live their way from reducing their risk of any types of chronic health diseases. So the tagline, how staying healthy can make you rich, was really sort of the thing, because as your listeners are probably listening, and we know, rich isn't just so you can, have nice sneakers and watches and cars and houses. Rich is really a sense of having abundance. And abundance is freedom. And it's the freedom to say what you want, do what you want, go where you want, be with who you want, and not have to do things you don't necessarily want to do. And so it's not just about who can accumulate the most dollars. It's about, how do you really build a life and a lifestyle that really supports what's best for you. because you've probably seen, I know you've seen, a lot of people with a lot of money who are, quote, really rich,
Yeah.
but they're miserable and they can't stand what they do and they don't like their business or what they're doing, but they're making so much money that they literally sacrifice their lives and their health to try to accumulate dollars. So that was really sort of the way to, again, in those days, now I would be doing podcasts, but in those days, that was the way to sort of get those ideas out there. And when people hear those ideas, the right people respond to them and come back to you and end up becoming some of your best clients.
Yeah, and I love that title and how you put it like that, because it makes sense. Like, you can be very rich, but if you don't feel good, or if you have health problems that you can't fix, then you can't really enjoy that money or enjoy what you do with it.
To your point, the other title we were considering was How Letting Yourself Get Sick Will Make You Broke, because that's just the truth of the matter. But I try to be an optimist and try to focus on the positive side of things, even though most people are looking more for the dangerous side or negative side. So the other way is, if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to get sick and go broke.
Yeah. So you're the founder of Amplified. So what is Amplified?
Amplified, and I'll be clear because we're on audio, it's spelled A-M-P-L-I-F-E-I-E-D. It's a different way of spelling amp, life-eyed. And that's really that's two words in one. You want to amplify your life, living. We know in biology and as chiropractors that life is an expression of energy. So when you amplify life, you are amplifying your energy. You are sharing more of who you are. You're healing and focusing and functioning to the best of your ability. That's really the spirit of what Amplified is as a brand and as an idea. In practicality as a business, it's a social media posting service for chiropractors and other health professionals. So as we mentioned, in today's world, social media, podcasts, the internet is the way to get messages out to the world.
Yeah.
Faster and quicker and cheaper than anything else out there. And so what we built was a series of posts and different types of campaigns that chiropractors can use and other health professionals can use on their social channels to share their philosophy, to share their beliefs, that amplifying your life is another way of almost saying wellness. It's about taking care of yourself, valuing who you are, and investing in yourself so that you can have the brightest, or I don't want to say loudest as in volume, but the most enhanced, most energetic life that you want to have.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. And I think that doing that can help a lot of chiropractors and doctors spread their message.
That's exactly the intention of it, and we've got thousands of chiropractors around the world and all kinds of different health professionals, not only for chiropractors. It is what I like to say, using the world's #1 social networks to share the world's best kept secret in healthcare. And that's really what it is. It's amplifying the message of, life is a miracle. We are all amazing as human beings. If you're alive, if your body is breathing and your heart is pumping and your immune system is working, your muscles are working, you got a smile on your face, if you're alive, it's a miracle when you really think about it. I know people go, well, of course you're alive. But if you really pause and think about it, what is the difference between somebody who's alive and somebody who's not alive? And the answer is, it's not physical. It's energy. And that's really, I think, the new conversation for people to understand is that, you're not just a body, you are energy in motion. And the more people understand how to connect with their inner energy, the more amplified or the greater life they will experience. And that's just something I think you and I have both seen in the world we live in.
Yeah, totally. And that makes so much sense when you really think about it and see what that means. And for the last question of this episode, if you could give one piece of advice to the younger generation or to my listeners, what would that be?
That is a really, really, really great question. One piece of advice for your listeners. I think one piece of advice for your listeners. I think I have to probably break it down and say the one piece of advice I have is to find something you really love to do. And there's two major reasons for that. One is because you should do what you love to do.
Yeah.
But the other reason for that is being successful, however you define success, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's freedom, whether it's impact, whether it's prestige, celebrity, whatever it is, for most people most of the time, it takes time. And if you don't love what you do enough, you're not going to stay with it long enough to experience the type of success that you want. So when you really think about and sort of, I know some people are like, where can I make the fastest money? Where can I make the most money? And the focus is money. When you focus on money, and I am a fan of money, but the problem with your focus being on dollars is that there's never enough. When your goal is a number, there's always a bigger number, another number, and it does have a tendency to lead to a sense of just dissatisfaction. When you find out something you love, or something you love to do, or something you want to share with people, and you're not going to stop, you're almost guaranteed success for that exact reason. Because you love it so much, you're not going to stop.
Wow, yeah. I think all my viewers have a lot to learn, and I've learned so much from you today. So I just want to thank you so much for being on my show, and I've had an awesome talk with you. Thank you guys for watching the Z Ice Show with your host Z Ice and special guest Jason, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for listening, and make sure to like and follow, and I'll see you in the next one.